So the number 4, so again, we're doing the top 10. So the number 4, the number 4 phrase that women like to use when trying to deceive men is "I want to take things slow." Take a look and listen.
I want to take this slow. I want to keep my ex while you buy me things.
Women never take things slow with the men they want to fuck. They say this to make them think there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, so that man will stick around and do her favors, thinking she'll reward him for his efforts. Newsflash, she'll never fuck that guy. So if a woman ever says this to you, understand that you will never, ever fuck her. Save yourself some time and bounce like a bad check. Guys, this is how dudes get friend zoned, right? They take the girl's word for it that she actually wants to take things slow because she wants to do it right and not jump into a sexual relationship right away. Meanwhile, she's getting bottomed out by her ex while you're giving her all of the benefits of being in a relationship, which is your attention and time and so forth, without her having to give you sex. If a woman wants to take things slow with you, it means she does not like you like that. Period, point blank, full stop.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, her making you wait is the biggest, one of the biggest indicators of you being lower status. That it's one of the most honest displays that she doesn't like you as much.
Yep.
And
they never want to take things. Women never want to take things slow with the guys that they're aroused by. They never have and never will. This is how it is.
Yeah, I mean, she's making rules for you while breaking them for other guys, and that's just something that a lot of guys need to understand and not accept. Right, a lot of these girls. Right, this is like the single mom theory, right? Where she's a single mom, she made really bad reproductive decisions, but now she wants to go ahead and put boundaries and rules up for you that she didn't put up for the other guy, and you're basically paying full price for a used car. And I know people say, "Oh, well, that's a very fucked up and antiquated way to look at this," but it's the truth.
It's true.
And that's what it comes down to, where guys just need to be intelligent enough to understand, okay, is this woman worthy of what she requires? And most of the time, it's a no. I hate to say it, but like most of the time, it's a no. They're overcharging for their product, right?
That's
like,
right.
and only women are able to do this, right? Like if you're a guy and you're a fucking loser and you don't have the leverage to demand a certain type of woman, like reality lets you know this fairly quickly, and men make peace with it, right? Like we know all the time that guys, right, might be outclassed by a woman, and if he gets her, great. If he doesn't, like, there's no real, like, oh, yeah, you get what you're in, right? But with women, for some odd reason, if I say, hey, you're batting out of your league, you don't deserve this caliber of guy, you should probably, tone down your standards, it's looked at as misogynistic, and I look at it like, no, it's realistic, because men have an honest understanding of where we stand in the sexual marketplace. We understand, look, we haven't reached a certain level, so therefore we cannot expect a certain level of female, right? So, but men make peace with this and understand it, but women, for some odd reason, don't. You'll have a woman that's a single mom, not attractive, overweight,
right,
rude, rambunctious, not submissive, and she'll sit there and say, well, I demand a guy that's 6 foot plus that's making $300,000, $400,000 per year. And that it's ludicrous, but it's because we don't tell them anything. We don't tell them the truth. Whereas, like, if I took a dude that's homeless and he said, oh, yeah, I want a bad bitch, Instagram model, we'd all laugh at him. Rightfully so, we'd ridicule him and say, you don't qualify, buddy. And he would probably sit there and tell you, yeah, you're right, I don't qualify, I need to accept it. But if I tell women this, they look at me like I'm an asshole. And the problem is that we need to go back to telling people the truth. And if we did tell them the truth, we'd be in a much better society. But it's because we lie, it's because we care more about political correctness and feelings than getting shit done or being pragmatic and honest, as to why we have so many of the societal issues we have now.
Yeah, and I'll also tell you this. I think we need to start calling losers, man.
Yeah,
we just need to start calling what they're... Listen, listen, man, if you're a man and you don't have a job, you play video games all day when you live with your mom, you're a fucking loser.
Yep.
If you're a girl and you're unemployed and you sleep around and you're putting booty pics on Instagram, fucking loser. The problem is we're not calling losers. This is why they don't have, and Myron, you're 100% correct. If a man is inadequate, the world lets us know very, very quickly. If a man is a loser, we know we're losers. That's why we have more motivation. There are so many women who are losers who have no idea that they're losers. Why else do you think they're not changing?
Yeah. I mean, when you don't get real world consequences for your deficiencies, there's no incentive to improve the deficiency. And I would argue that since feminism, since like since the real push for women's suffrage and feminism, which I would mark in the 1960s, since then we haven't really been honest and adamant about getting women to improve through shame. We really don't. If anything, I would argue we've done everything in our power to limit shame and stop it.
All right.
We've done everything to kind of reinforce bad behavior versus we haven't necessarily we haven't done that with men. Right? And I think shame and telling people that they're losers and letting them know that there are objective L's is very important for the thriving of a society. But we kind of have this whole participation trophy mindset right in the West, especially when it comes to women, where we don't tell them that they're losers. We need to go ahead and let women know, look, if you're 30 years old and you don't have a serious counterpart, right, whether it's a serious boyfriend, a fiance, a marriage, something, if you reach 30 years old and you don't have a serious male counterpart, while simultaneously knowing that the dating marketplace is significantly easier for women, you're a fucking loser.
That's right.
How do you play the game on easy mode and still lose to the final boss? When you have all the power-ups, you have all the fucking cheat codes, you got the Game Shark, and you still lose to the final boss. Like, that's unacceptable, because that, quite frankly, is what modern women have. They have all the social advantages, they have all the protections, they have all the rights, they have all the privileges. They're able to, they get the benefits of both. They get the benefits of egalitarian society, which I would argue we have an egalitarian society nowadays, right? They get the benefits of that while simultaneously still being able to enjoy female privilege. It's fucking crazy. And the fact that I'm one of the few people that calls this shit out on the internet, because everyone is too to admit this shit, right? Yep. I'm even harder on it. We need standards for females. Look, 30 years old, no husband, no fiance, you're a fucking loser. No one cares about your degree. No one cares about your education. No one cares about these masculine achievements. Because if I walked around and I said I'm a handsome ass nigga, man, look at me, I got like 1,000 Gucci wallets, no one would give a fuck. I would still be an objective loser because I haven't done what I'm supposed to do in my masculine journey. And we tend to not let women understand that they have a feminine journey, and the journeys are completely different. They diverge. They're not the same. If a woman walks the warrior's journey, the male warrior's journey, and ends up achieving a bunch of masculine achievements, career, title, respect, accolades, whatever, cool. That's awesome for you. But objectively speaking, as a female, you're a loser. Just like if I'm a guy and I decide I'm not going to go to school, I'm not going to pursue entrepreneurship, I'm not going to get a trade, I'm not going to be a higher earner, I'm not going to go ahead and get in the gym, etc. And I'm going to choose instead to focus on being a great baker, right? Oh man, I'm one of the best fucking cookie makers ever. Well, I'm a fucking loser. Why? Right. Because I haven't achieved, right, the prerequisites to put myself in a position as a respectable man, because as a man, we have different goals than a woman. So we need to go back to letting people understand that there are objective losses, right? Depending on who you are. But we live in this fucking crazy ass politically correct world where we've blended the genders so much that no one actually has real goals. This is why a majority, right, of women nowadays are experiencing some type of fucking anxiety or a depression or feel unfulfilled because we've sold them this lie that there's no such thing as a loser. There's no such thing as being a failure. Whatever you choose to do, it's fine. And we don't have objective markers of success. Well, guess what? There's objective markers of success for men. But for some odd reason, since the 1960s, we've decided to lose those objective markers for females. That's why we got coming on this show, divorced 3 times, 4 baby daddies, bunch of kids, bastards, right? But she wants to sit there and say, well, I'm a success because I got a job. Fuck out of here. No, you don't. You're not successful. You're an L. But no one tells her.
Look, man, if you are a woman in your 30s, if you're a woman in your 30s, and just like you said, Myron, and you don't have a significant other, if you don't have a serious boyfriend, fiance, or you're not married, you are a failure. Okay? Spinsters are failures. They spent their entire lives getting, flown out, blown out, and thrown out, sleeping around, living their hoe phase, and then they end up at, 46 with no kids, childless, blah, blah, blah. You are a failure as a human being. And the funny thing is, Myron, is that women inherently understand that. Why else do you think that the most miserable, the stereotype, the archetype of the most miserable woman in the most miserable people in America, there was a study on this, is a 42-year-old woman, unmarried, who's a lawyer. Okay, well, wait a minute, Donovan. She's accomplished something. She's a lawyer. Doesn't mean shit. Because men, as you always say, Myron, men, we derive pleasure and satisfaction in accomplishing things. Women derive pleasure in the relationships they make, being able to acquire a husband and having a family. If you, as a woman, ends up without a family, or if you're a baby mama and not married, or if you're a spinster, you have failed at life. Period.
Yeah. And we don't have objective measurements of success and failure because we're too concerned with people's feelings. I mean, we have objective measurements for men, right? Yep. Like, you can still pick on a guy and say, oh, you don't got a job, you're a fucking bum. You live with your mom, you're a loser. But we don't have these same objective measurements for women because we've allowed women to adopt masculine traits. We've allowed women to enter the workforce. We've allowed women to behave like men, right? And
yes.
we go ahead and we attribute masculine successes to women as W's, and I would argue it's not. If anything, I would say the masculine successes that they do achieve are actually counterproductive.
Absolutely. To
the feminine achievements that they need to achieve to actually feel fulfillment. But if we're going to be all the way 1,000, because we know for every dollar that she earns, she's going to want a man that makes about 56% more of that. Right. So what ends up happening when she ends up making this money? Well, guess what? Her ability to acquire, right, to meet, attract, and retain the man that she wants, the chances drop off precipitously as she earns more money.
There you go.
But we don't have these difficult discussions because we're more concerned with making women feel good versus telling them what is good. Right. And what is good is that you need to fucking understand the more you become successful, the lower the likelihood a man that you want is going to want you back.
Dude, I've said that for years. The more status, the more money, the more accomplishments, the further she climbs up the corporate ladder, the further she shrinks her pool of potential suitors. It's a tale as old as time itself. And women don't realize this until it's way too late. It's a shame.
No, it's really bad. And the reason why is because information like this is censored.
There you go.
What?
There you go.
This awareness has really been a thing. Like, it's been around for decades. So people understand. Like, this RP awareness thing has been around since the fucking 90s, man. Like, there's forums on this shit. However, it's really only blown up, I would say, since 2020. When we hit the scene, Andrew Tate, etc., we've kind of mainstreamed it, right? But they did everything in their power to suppress this information for obvious reasons. Shadow banning it, banning videos, demonetization, etc. They don't want this information getting out there because they look at it like, oh my God, well, this is hate speech, blah, blah, blah. Is it really hate speech? Is it really hate speech if it's the truth? Right? And that's
the way they see it.
And that's the problem. Again, this is another issue where there's another byproduct of allowing to be in positions of power in the marketplace of ideas. Well, they're going to interpret things through their feelings, right? Hate speech, contrary to what people think, is still protected speech under the First Amendment, right? And sometimes you need to hear uncomfortable speech to wake the fuck up. And that's where we are now, where I got to say things that are considered ridiculous or wild or far right to get people's attention, to get them, look, there's a problem. We've shifted so fucking far left that you need someone like me to come back far right to bring things back in the center and make it sensible. That's how crazy we've gotten now. Where
this is how it is, man.
Where we've brainwashed modern women into thinking that just behave like a man and you'll be happy. No.
Oh, God, yeah.
That is the recipe for success. If I told men, just behave like a woman, go ahead and go find a woman that's going to take care of you, right? Don't focus on making money. Don't focus on going to the gym and being strong. Don't focus on being a provider. Just focus on finding a woman that's going to take care of you. I would argue that most men would probably end up depressed, sad, and fucked.
100%.
So don't sit there and tell me now that, oh, well, women are happy. No, they're not. A lot of them are very sad and angry because they've been lied to. Because if I reversed the roles and I put men in this situation and told them to behave like women, they would be fucking depressed. And a lot of them are. Because we tell them it's okay for them to just participate. Why do we have all these sad boys? Why do we have all these depressed men? It's because we tell them, right, that how they feel is more important than the reals. We don't tell them that your merit is significantly important to your ability to be happy as a man. Show me a guy that's making a bunch of money, that's going to the gym, that's killing it in life, that's fucking depressed. Very few.
Crickets.
Very fucking few. Depression is a healthy response to inadequacy.